Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, 7 people were rushed to the hospital after a truck crashed through a storefront in Ellsworth this afternoon. It happened around 1:45 at the Dollar Tree on High Street. Police say it appears the elderly driver was trying to park when the truck accelerated, hit a parked car, and smashed through the glass doors and windows at the front of the building. The truck ended up 20 feet inside the store. 5 people inside the building were injured, but police say none of those injuries appear to be life-threatening. 2 people inside the truck were also taken to the hospital. The Ellsworth code enforcement officer closed the building for safety reasons after the incident. It is still under investigation. Well, the Maine Warden Service is seeking information regarding 2 illegally killed deer in Aroostook County. The carcasses were dumped near mile marker 260 on the southbound side of Interstate 95 in the town of Benedicta. The Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says some of the meat had been taken, but most was left to waste. This likely happened between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. last Thursday. Maine Operation Game Thief is offering a reward of $3,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. Anyone with information is asked to call 1-800-ALERT-US. Well, Maine State Police have released additional details surrounding a fatal crash in Bangor on Friday that killed a pedestrian. At 6:18 on Friday night, Maine State Police responded to the crash at exit 184 off I-95 in Bangor. They say 36-year-old Tracy Pelletier of Orono was driving a 2016 Honda Civic when she struck a pedestrian who was walking on the Union Street exit off-ramp. That pedestrian was identified as 28-year-old Ryan Hersey of Enfield. Police say their preliminary investigation indicates Hersey had run out of gas and exited his vehicle to walk to Union Street. He was wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt with the hood pulled up when he was struck by Pelletier's vehicle. They say Pelletier immediately called 911 and Bangor Rescue transported Hersey to Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor, where he died from his injuries. The preliminary investigation does not show any impairment or distraction issues with Pelletier, but Maine State Police say the investigation remains ongoing. Well, switching gears now, if you haven't already gotten your Real ID and you were worried you missed the deadline, you've got some extra time. Quite a bit of it, actually. Secretary of State Shannon Bellows says the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will be delaying enforcement of Real ID requirements for domestic flights and other activities by almost 2.5 years. The deadline is now May 7th of 2025. According to Bellows, only 14.1% of driver license and state ID holders have Real ID compliant credentials. A reminder, though, that while non-Real ID credentials may be renewed online, Real ID compliant licenses and IDs must be obtained in person at your local BMV branch. Well, Maine Housing recently announced a special project in partnership with the Genesis Fund to expand affordable housing. Our AJ Douglas heard from project leaders on how this initiative will benefit Mainers.
A nonprofit community developer known as the Genesis Fund was recently awarded a contract with Maine Housing to offer technical assistance and consulting to promote affordable housing options throughout the state.
We are faced with an unprecedented need in the state of Maine. We need about 25,000 additional affordable housing units. In order to make that happen, we need to find new developer partners who can create this housing.
Maybe they have never developed an affordable housing project, but they have a keen interest in wanting to and starting to, and they've aligned their local community to do so. So that's our job, is to go in and help them execute on that.
Egan says the Genesis Fund looks to offer long-term solutions to those working to transition out of temporary housing.
Our program is designed to produce permanent housing eventually for folks moving out of transitional or emergency housing to have an affordable place that they can move into.
The Genesis Fund plans to announce scheduled informational sessions that will take place online and in person. To learn more, log on to thegenesisfund.org. In Bangor, AJ Douglas, ABC 7, Fox 22.
Meanwhile, Bangor is looking to boost its effort to clean up discarded needles around the city. Our Matthew Jurancic explains.
Concerns are growing about the number of used and discarded needles laying around Bangor. So the city's public health department is looking to team up with the state and various organizations to distribute the sterile syringes and pick up the used ones. Recovery centers in the area say they are on board with this decision.
I love it. I think it's great. They've always been a part of the Gather Place. The city has always been a big part of that with us, so I'm really glad that they're stepping up and doing even more.
The city wants to craft a plan to address the issue, which could possibly involve more funding for the necessary resources. Even with 10 community disposal boxes scattered across the city, some residents don't believe this is enough.
These needle exchange boxes, I feel like they put them in, but they don't really maintain them.
Others say they appreciate that Bangor is at least doing something to prevent the situation from escalating.
It seems like they're doing pretty decent. I haven't really noticed a lot of needles around, but it could be better, but it also could be worse.
According to the Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the state collected a little more than 2 million used syringes while distributing more than 2 million new syringes last year. In order to truly address the situation, Mansion Church pastor Terry Dinkin says we need to get to the core of the problem.
I believe in our city or in our area we need more detox centers, more rehabs to help the people to get off the drugs, and I think we should really focus on them and to help them to get off the drugs, and then we wouldn't have this needle problem.
I did speak to Bangor Public Health Director Patty Hamilton, and she did confirm the city is working on a plan, but could not confirm anything else. Reporting from Bangor, Matthew Juroncic, ABC7 and Fox 22.
Well, Maine People's Alliance is urging Congress to expand the child tax credit for its end-of-the-year spending. The program was temporarily expanded last year in the American Rescue Plan Act, giving millions of low-income families help with both caring for their children and purchasing necessities. Maine People's Alliance hosted an in-person presser this morning on the matter, and stakeholders said more than 15 million children and their families across the country will be at risk of falling into poverty.
Reference point here in Maine, the failure to act on this risks putting 49,000 children back into poverty.
Well, in response, a representative for Congressman Golden's office issued a statement saying, quote, as Congressman Golden made clear with his votes last year, he opposes sending taxpayer money to households making as much as $400,000 a year. He believes the child tax credit should be targeted toward working class families and used to prevent and reduce poverty. He will review any proposal that comes up for a vote in the House to ensure it goes to families who truly need it and to make sure that it is paid for and does not increase the current budget deficit, end quote. Well, in some lingering election news, Joel Stetkis has been announced as the winner for the Somerset County Commissioner race following Monday's recount. Secretary of State Shanna Bellows announced a recount following Stetkis' win by a one-vote margin. Under state law, Lloyd Trafton was within his legal right to request a recount 3 days following election results in a close race. The recount verified results showing Stetkis actually claimed victory by 2 votes. Bellows says the recount shows election accuracy.
We want voters to know that every vote matters, every vote counts, and every vote will be counted. They're not always a one-vote difference. This one was particularly unique in that it was a single vote that differentiated the winner from the loser.
Final vote tallies showed 1,273 votes for Stetkis and 1,271 votes for past Commissioner Lloyd Trafton. And with a little bit more on what we can expect weather-wise in the coming hours, let's hit pause here and take a first look at our forecast.
All right, Beth, thank you. Happy Monday. Your first weather is brought to you by Kings Mountain RC. Let's talk about temperatures today. 46 here in Bangor, 42 in Millinocket. We'll take it. It is, of course, early December. And even warmer temperatures are on the way. We could do 50 tomorrow and for Wednesday, maybe Thursday, before falling back a bit for Friday into Saturday. All right, lots of cloud cover out there today as we have increasing clouds. We'll keep it cloudy tonight and throughout much of tomorrow. But then our next weather system gets in here. It's part of this system and part of that system. That's coming in here on Wednesday. Some locally heavy rainfall is back in the forecast for Wednesday afternoon. Our forecast, though, tonight, though, is mostly cloudy skies with high temperatures, or low temperatures, not so low, right? Down near 40. Your full forecast is coming up. Beth?
Alrighty, Jeff, thanks so much. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, two Mainers share more about the challenges of living with Lyme disease. And the Castine Historical Society wants you to think of them while you're doing your holiday shopping. We'll explain coming up those stories and more local news when we come right back.
Let me ask you a question. Do you do it every night? I mean, every night? Well, Jordan's customers do, and you could too. Come visit Bridget, get fitted for the right mattress, and you'll do it every night too, getting a great night's sleep.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Wherever you are, whether you're ready or not, it's coming. With a purpose, with persistence, with the power to change the way you live. So you don't have to change the way you live. Generac automatic standby generators. Control your power, control your life. Visit Generac.com.
Where's our mom?
She didn't make it.
You killed our mother!
The Resident, all new Tuesday at 8 on Fox.
Dear Elliot, we thought purchasing a mattress would be confusing, but the experience at Jordan's Sleep Lab was really different and easy. We are now doing it every night, getting a great night's sleep every night. Thank you.
Experience the difference at Jordan's.
Coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll have a live in-studio interview with two local authors regarding the upcoming Local Authors Fair in Bangor this weekend. Plus, we'll get an update over the Supreme Court ruling regarding an important gay rights issue, alongside your regular radar weather updates, accompanied by plenty of local news. This and more coming up.
A brutal murder is prompting new questions about the state of Maine's mental health system. A Poland man is accused of murdering his brother last month. Family and friends believe it could have been prevented, and now they're pushing for change. Dan Lamparello has more on why the family says warning signs were missed.
We have a lot of really good memories of him well.
Yesha Preventure,
which I'm thankful for,
tries to remember the good times with her ex-boyfriend, Justin Butterfield.
What I loved about him was how great of a dad he was.
But in recent years, she says Butterfield's mental health declined rapidly, which she believes ultimately led him to brutally kill his brother Gabe last month in Poland.
He just was so unmedicated and so untreated that, you know, the stories out there that he did something horrible to his brother, and Justin didn't do that. His unmedicated brain did that.
Since 2018, Preventure says she's made 10 calls to law enforcement and hospitals to try and get him long-term help.
And I looked upon people of power to help me do that. And I don't truly believe it happened. I don't truly believe I got the help, or he ever got the help that he needed to be well.
Ultimately, Preventure says Butterfield was admitted to the hospital 8 different times, 4 just this year, after he was blue papered, a law that allows certain patients to be committed involuntarily for psychiatric treatment if they're deemed a threat to themselves or others. But she says he was never held for more than a few days. She says the more intense white paper process, which could have kept him admitted longer, was never used.
That's where the breakdown starts right there in the beginning.
It's hard to describe all cases with one answer.
Jeff Austin is the vice president of the Maine Hospital Association. He says mental health treatment in Maine remains complicated because many of the state's hospitals are not set up for long-term psychiatric treatment, which is why focusing on the resources available once someone is discharged must be a priority too.
Is there more that the state can do to connect those people who are discharged and then need to stay on that regimen when they're back out in the community?
That's an outstanding question. And the answer is yes, but it's not simply a function of state government go do it. We have to have enough clinicians. We have to have enough residential care providers.
Gaps Preventure says she will be pushing to see filled.
I feel like I owe it to Gabe and to Justin to try my absolute hardest.
So no other family has to experience what she's feeling.
And I just hope that this can push some change.
And that was Dan Lamparello reporting. Well, December is typically a time when we talk about cold and flu season, but after several years of pandemic distancing, this year's flu season is coming on with a vengeance. Cases of the flu and RSV, a respiratory virus, have been skyrocketing, and as Brad Rogers reports, that's straining resources.
Hospitals in Maine are seeing an uptick in patients with respiratory illnesses. Now, during the COVID years, mask wearing kept a lot of these flu outbreaks, like the one we just had here at Casco Bay High School, at a minimum. But now that the masks are off, we're seeing more cases of flu and other respiratory illnesses. Adelina Sayanga and Noemia Zolomeso are happy to be back at Casco Bay High School and feeling much better. Both were out with the flu last week.
I was shivering. I was coughing real bad. I couldn't really breathe at night. Coughing, like pain in your stomach and stuff. Couldn't eat, couldn't breathe.
The outbreak at Casco Bay High led to 1/3 of the students and staff being out sick last week, forcing the school to dismiss students early on Friday.
We are seeing a striking uptick, actually, in influenza the last 10 days.
Dorianne Mills is Maine Health's Chief Health Improvement Officer. She says family Thanksgiving gatherings is the likely source of influenza outbreaks across the country, the highest flu numbers they've seen in the past 10 years. And she predicts this will be a challenging winter when it comes to the flu.
You know, we have this respiratory cauldron of viruses that are circulating, and I suspect that they'll circulate for a while. But the good news is we have a lot more tools than we had 3 years ago, including vaccinations.
Mills says updating your COVID and flu vaccinations, washing your hands, and wearing masks are the best ways you can keep from getting the flu. Because of this flu going around, should everyone be wearing a mask like we did with COVID?
In my opinion, I feel like yes, we should, but it depends on the person if they want to. Like, I don't want to force anybody to wear a mask. If you don't want to, that's on you. But me, I would definitely wear one. The kids who like had the fevers and stuff, they still have to like wear masks just to keep everybody safe.
Dorianne Mills says right now there is an abundance of high-quality masks available. She also says this year's flu vaccine is very effective.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. Well, staying on the medical front, there are encouraging signs about a new drug to slow the progression of Alzheimer's. The New England Journal of Medicine says tests on lecanemab show it reduced symptoms of the disease by 27%. Patients with early signs of Alzheimer's showed less cognitive and functional decline after taking the drug compared with a placebo group. Drew Wyman of the Alzheimer's Association Maine chapter says that this is exciting news.
But the position really is, this is an exciting time. That it's the first time where we've had drugs that are coming out that can attack the underlying pathology of the disease. Right? Until just the last year or so, we've only had drugs that treat symptoms for only a period of time, but don't have the ability to either delay or slow the progress of the disease. So that's what's so exciting about this.
Well, it's expected the FDA could approve the drug as soon as next month. For more information, you can contact the Alzheimer's Association hotline. Lyme disease is one of those illnesses that is not going away. Animals and people alike can be infected with Lyme if they are bitten by a tick, and ticks are everywhere here in Maine. Our Jody Hersey spoke with two women learning to live and thrive despite dealing with chronic Lyme.
I mean, my body was deteriorating. I started to get blurry vision and really bad headaches and joint pain.
For months, Amy Watkins of Bangor suffered. She saw a rheumatologist, a neurologist, and an infectious disease specialist, searching for answers on why her body was failing. In 2008, she was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease.
It changed my life drastically. I mean, I have 2 children, and they were like middle school age at the time, and I needed help taking care of them.
Like Watkins, photographer Denise Lilly of Hamden is also living with Lyme. She says, it felt like my body was shutting down at the most basic level, like all of my cells were filled with molasses. But Lyme doesn't just affect Lilly, it also affects her sons. She says both of my sons have Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. My oldest had a tick bite when he was 15 months old, and despite being treated with 21 days of amoxicillin right away, he has had symptoms and issues ever since. Chiropractor Debbie Baker is a Lyme laser specialist who says people with Lyme shouldn't have to suffer. Her practice in Hamden is an affiliate of Lyme Laser New England.
When they first come in, we do what's called an assessment to give an indication of which organs and systems are being affected by Lyme disease. And based on that information, the corporate develops a very specific nutrient protocol. And then we also have 5 or 6 different therapies that are appropriate to help restore and regenerate the body.
Baker says a bullseye at the location of a tick bite is not always proof one has Lyme. Some people have Lyme without the rash or bullseye mark. That was the case for Amy Watkins.
It's easier to say, yeah, I have Lyme if you find the tick and you get it tested and all that, but I never found it. Be your own advocate because it's still one of those controversial diseases.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Definitely important information there. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, former President Trump drawing backlash over his recent comments suggesting the termination of the U.S. Constitution in connection with his claims of fraud in the 2020 election. And justices on the U.S. Supreme Court are considering arguments over a case of a Christian businesswoman in Colorado who does not want to work for a couple having a same-sex marriage. We'll have those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
You can get any phone you want. Any one I want? Any phone you want.
Connection is the greatest gift of all. At U.S. Cellular, we're offering any phone free for new and current customers, plus $100 to spend on accessories.
Silver Fox Automotive is a family-owned and operated company with more than 30 years of experience. We are originally from the county and offer competitive prices and promise you will be completely satisfied with our work. We offer a stress-free experience to both our new and returning customers. We only use parts from reputable brands to ensure your vehicle is safe to drive. Here at Silver Fox, there will always be a friendly face to greet you. Come see us at 2004 Audlin Road in Herman.
Hanks Husqvarna is your full-line Husqvarna dealer with 2 convenient locations, 32 Old State Road in Carmel and 19 Moosehead Trail in Newport. Whether it's tractors and zero turns, chainsaws to trimmers, or pressure washers to snow blowers. Everything is set up, serviced, and ready to go by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or sales, stop in to Hank's Husqvarna, Carmel or Newport.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Former President Trump has angered some of his former allies with posts on his social media platform that suggested parts of the Constitution should be thrown out because he didn't win in 2020. Today, he walked back that post and says it was taken out of context. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has the story from Washington.
Social media posts have landed former President Trump in hot water with members of his own party. While saying the election 2 years ago should have been overturned, he wrote this over the weekend, quote, "A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution." The presidential candidate then posted Monday, "The fake news is actually trying to convince the American people that I said I wanted to terminate the Constitution." While there was outrage on the airwaves, members of his own former administration have rebuked the president.
As far as putting the Constitution aside, I can't really think that's what he asked the vice president to do 2 years ago when rioters were attacking the Capitol.
You know, he says a lot of things. You have to take him in context. He has no ability to suspend the Constitution.
Democratic leaders say there needs to be more pushback.
We need nothing less than an avalanche of condemnation from Republicans. But sadly, all we've gotten so far are just a few flurries.
The White House says the former president's own Homeland Security officials and judges proved the 2020 election was secure.
The American people came together just past midterms and utterly rejected the dangerous conspiracy that we have been hearing, the big lie that we have been hearing from the former president, but also many Republicans.
Former President Trump so far is the only officially declared candidate for 2024. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Meanwhile, justices on the U.S. Supreme Court are considering arguments over a case of a Christian web designer in Colorado who does not want to craft wedding websites for same-sex couples based on her religious beliefs. It is a case encompassing freedom of speech and religion along with civil rights. Fox's Shannon Bream has the details.
Colorado is trying to force me to create custom, unique artwork to promote ideas inconsistent with my faith and the core of who I am.
Colorado web designer Lori Smith says the state's anti-discrimination law would force her to create wedding websites for same-sex couples in violation of her religious beliefs. But today's case at the High Court was argued not on the basis of religious freedom, but rather free speech. During the 2.5 hours of arguments, many of the justices appeared to struggle with how to balance the government's interest in upholding the rights of protected classes of people and the free speech rights of artistic business owners who don't want to endorse a message they don't personally believe. Justice Gorsuch, a Colorado native who once sat on a federal court based there, said the state has offered confusing positions, saying a baker couldn't be required to make an anti-LGBTQ cake, but upheld a law that would force him to make one that could be viewed as pro-LGBTQ. He also referenced that notable case the court heard regarding Colorado baker Jack Phillips just 4 years ago, which left many of the key issues unresolved.
Mr. Phillips did go through a re-education training program pursuant to Colorado law, did he not, Mr. Olson?
He went through a process that ensured he was familiar with...
It was a re-education program, right?
It was not a re-education program.
What do you call it?
It was a process to make sure he was familiar with Colorado law.
Someone might be excused for calling that a re-education
I strongly
program.
disagree, Justice Gorsuch. Don't regulate, create!
The extended arguments were packed full of hypothetical scenarios, from dating websites to pictures with Santa, about just where the justices should draw the line when it comes to businesses that are arguably artistic in nature.
But how about people who don't believe in interracial marriage? Or about people who don't believe that disabled people should get married? Where's the line? I choose to serve whom I want.
The web designer in this case says she does have many LGBTQ clients, but she won't create same-sex wedding websites. Justice Gorsuch seemed to boil it down to this. It's not about who she'd be serving, but about what message she'd be forced to communicate. In Washington, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
Well, Georgians who did not take advantage of early voting will go to the polls tomorrow to complete the U.S. Senate roster for the next 2 years. Now, the runoff between incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker decide what the balance of power will be. Fox's Aisha Hosni takes a look.
Rain, sun, or shine, we got to get out there and let them know we're sick and tired of this.
We need people to show up tomorrow.
A final sprint in a long, tumultuous campaign trail with a grueling 4 stops for incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and 5 events for Republican challenger Herschel Walker. The latest CNN poll puts Warnock ahead of Walker by a mere 4 points. Why do you think the polls are so close again?
Listen, the only poll that counts is tomorrow. And so we'll see how close it is tomorrow. I'll tell you what's not close, my record and Herschel Walker's record.
Runoff voting is already shattering records. The outcome now depends on Election Day turnout.
Herschel Walker doesn't make sense to me, and Warnock does, so it was easy as that.
Walker has been plagued this entire cycle by allegations of paying for abortions and abusing ex-lovers, which he denies.
I don't necessarily love Herschel Walker. I don't care for Warnock or Ossoff.
The football star also recently denied he's hiding from the media, but at a rally Sunday, his camp tried to block our team from asking a question.
Need you guys to stay back, please.
Can we just shout a quick
No,
question?
ma'am.
We're just going to ask him if he can close the gap.
No, ma'am.
Herschel, do you think you can close the gap?
Both candidates have been keeping their respective party leaders at an arm's length, with former President Trump holding a tele-rally for Walker this evening and President Biden calling into an Atlanta radio station to get out the vote for Senator Warnock. In Kennesaw, I'm Aisha Husney, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign is in full swing and in need of volunteers. And in sports, after falling short in last year's regional final, Orono boys basketball is returning 4 starters and looking to get back to the big game. We'll be right back.
I never wanted you to get hurt. I'm going to burn it all to the ground.
Monarch, season finale, Tuesday at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Even though Dorsey Furniture is known for our vast collections of quality home furnishings, sometimes we like to venture into the forgotten passageways and dark corners of our enormous warehouse to mine the odd nightstand, forgotten sofa, orphaned love seat, or the elusive discontinued mattress. Meanwhile, our sales manager, and not the bean counters, smash the original retail prices into tiny fractions of themselves. Dorsey Furniture, black tag sale going on now.
I'm Jay Pearl from Carroll Harper & Associates, Maine's most experienced Medicare health plans agency. Every day we hear how complicated navigating the Medicare maze can be. Let us help. From enrolling in Medicare to finding the right Medicare health plan, we are your go-to agency. We represent Martins Point Generations Advantage and other Medicare health plans that meet our quality standards. There's no cost or obligation for our services, so call Carroll Harper & Associates today.
If you've been hurt in a car accident, watch out. Watch out. The insurance company's job is to do what's best for them, not you.
Watch out. If you wait too long to hire a lawyer, it may hurt your case. Don't trust that insurance company after your accident. You could miss out on a lot of money. Call the Twos and we'll watch out for you.
Lowry and Associates watched out for me and got me $150,000.
Call the Twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do? Call 222-2222.
Have you ever walked into a jewelry store and just gotten overwhelmed? Pushy salesmen, sky-high prices, and they don't even have what you want. Well, that's not the experience you get from Quality Jewelers. Our team does not work on commission, so that means our common goal of finding you the perfect piece is paramount. Our mission is to give you the best experience possible, providing service after the sale and earning your business for life. So make those memories with us here at Quality Jewelers. Quality Jewelers, locally owned and operated, Penobscot Plaza, Bangor.
Come try one of our daily specials at Pat's Pizza in Hamden.
Tuesday, spaghetti or ziti with meatballs or sausage, only $5.50.
Wednesday, large one-topping pizza, only $8.50.
Thursday, get an oven-baked wrap for only $6.
Friday is fish and fries for only $8.
And Saturday, get a small one-item pizza with a fountain soda, only $8.
Bring the family to Pat's Pizza, 662 Main Road, North Hamden.